So what comes to your mind when you think about air pollution?
Watery eyes.
Watery eyes. Okay, good. A reaction to it. Watery eyes it bothers you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What else? What images do you see?
Dirty air.
Dirty air.
Like smog.
Smog.
Pollution.
What? Pollution. Dust, yeah. All right, good. So we think about cars, factories, trains. We think about, outdoor air. Unfortunately, well, I don't know, maybe the word is not unfortunate, but it turned out, okay, guys, we don't generally think about our cozy home, right? We don't think about that. The fact is, indoor air has been considered by the FDA as being one of the top 5 environmental risks to your health. So it's actually the air inside your house that's posing a very high risk to your health. So how is that? So, well, this is a report from the FDA assessing assessing priorities, how we can reduce our risk, and how can we protect ourselves in the environment. And it says indoor air has a lot of toxic stuff from consumer products, stuff like solvents, pesticides in your home, formaldehydes in your home. And we spend so many hours indoors, and that's why it's such a serious environmental health hazard for us. So what is it that we are exposed to? So I'm using as much as I can, using government agency information. So here are some of the things that's affecting our air is by alphabetical. So asbestos, everybody has heard about asbestos, right, being a problem, right? And biological stuff like molds and stuff, that we've heard about a lot, yeah? And carbon monoxide from burning fossil fuel. And then formaldehyde. Now, all of us have heard about formaldehyde, yes? Right? Is that a good or bad thing? Bad thing. But so formaldehyde, so I'm going to turn it over to you. So according to the EPA, the sources of formaldehyde is from wood product, furniture, like pressed wood, all that kind of stuff, solvents. Well, we don't have a lot of, if you buy a new piece of furniture, you have experience that you've smelled that for a while, yes? And then after a while, it dissipates, right? So why is that a big deal, right? Well, and also it can cause all kinds of health effects, and it causes cancer in animals and can cause cancer in humans. That's from the EPA. But then what's really interesting is I went to the national. I'm going to let you do this because do you want to do this or not?
It's up to you.
Because this is what giving me problems before. Okay, so actually it's really interesting to see the different agencies have different conclusions. What's really interesting, and the Institute of Health highlights that in the international agency considers formaldehyde as a carcinogen, that it causes cancer in humans. But the EPA in the US says it's a probable, so it's a different category. For some reason, it's always European countries are more strict than the US rules. So when you have bad smells in your house, so we all know the air isn't so good. What do we do about this?
Put it Febreze or something.
What?
Febreze.
You put breeze, which is a what? All right, good job, air freshener. That's what we do. If you go to an airplane and airports, places, crowded places, they're always, they have air fresheners stored in the building. I think we probably have it here somewhere in our building. So air fresheners is generally what we do. So chemical warfare. We use chemical to attack another chemical. So what is in air fresheners? How does air fresheners make your air better? Can you have the next? So according to the EPA, the main ingredient in air freshener is formaldehyde. In fact, it's the #1 ingredient. Now, clearly, if you knew this, if you knew air fresheners is putting more formaldehyde in your air, you're not going to buy this, right? Unfortunately, you're not going to find that in the labels. So once again, this is from the EPA. I'm not like, taking this out from some crazy environmentalist. It's from the EPA. Main ingredient is formaldehyde. So next one, please. So if you can't tell, if you look at the label doesn't tell you what's in there, what can you do, right? Most of us look at the labels and take that as our protection, right? But the label doesn't tell you. So, well, fortunately, the Department of Health has a database of all different products. You can just go online, go to the database, type in the product, type in the brand name, and it brings up what's in there. But what's interesting about it is that it actually says it's just taking the information from the manufacturer. And so MSDS stands for Material Safety Data Sheet. So the Department of Health takes the information provided by manufacturer on this database. So I looked up air freshener, right? So after I go to the EPA says that's what in your air freshener. So like, okay, let me look up air fresheners. So I went to, so a health effect, like read this really carefully. It says no effect on acute exposure to your eyes, none to your skin. You can even inhale it, and you can eat it, and it's all good. And it doesn't really have any chronic effects either, because there's no inflammation. But it says if it gets into your eyes, you should rinse it out really well. But it has no health effects. And the next one. So what is in it? According to this listing, apparently the only thing that's in it is water, mostly. It doesn't. So the first ingredient is water, and the second one is this chemical. It says unspecified. So what do you do? What do you do? Next one. So I guess you can have to look elsewhere. You're not going to find it in the EPA, not going to find it in the Department of Health. You have to go somewhere else. So this study was done by the University of Washington in 2008, and they found all kinds of chemicals in these products and air freshener. So right now we're focusing air freshener, because that's our solution to bad indoor air. So you can see that they have all these different chemicals in there. We can sit all day here to look at the chemicals. The next one, please. And this is also in detergents. A lot of these chemicals are meant to make this product smell good, by the way. So next one. So here's a list of the chemicals that are found and their health effects. You can see 2 of them are carcinogens, and you can see all of them affects your neural system. So it goes on, and you can find all this is easily available online. So if you want to take a closer look, I'll put all this on a CD, and it will eventually be on YouTube. So all this, you will have a chance to look at this again. And if you want to, I can also give you a copy of my CD. Next one. So there's another, University of Washington did this study, and this is also a more recent study. Environmental Working Group turned out to be a really good resources for all kinds of information. So they've done their own analysis. So here is very common household product that most of us have at home, and they found that this product released 146 chemicals into the air. and next one, please. And guess what? Our friend formaldehyde is in there. And once again, you can look at this more closely another time. And another product, Simple Green. Simple meaning it must be really, really good for you, right? It's simple and it's green. Let's imagine that. And they found that it releases 96 air pollutants into your house. Yes.
Do these articles tell you what to substitute?
Yes, we're going to do that. Okay, thank you. So next one, please. So guess what's in Simple Green?
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. You get it coming and going. Okay, So let's go back to our list. So we've done formaldehyde, and well, we know about lead the paint, right? There's actually a lot more lead into the environment now because of kinds of stuff we do. And then it's nitrogen dioxide from burning, from stoves and so forth, pesticides in our house. Radon, fortunately, we don't have to worry about that a lot because radon is a natural sort of like radioactive sort of element in rocks. And we don't live in regions where the rocks are releasing a lot of radon. So it's not an issue for us, and that's a natural problem. And so you can have like dust, like particles, or smoke. So if you're smoking is a problem. You can also suffer from secondhand smoke. And then all this stuff is obvious. But what about this? What is VOC, volatile organic compounds? What are they? Next one. Well, VOCs are compounds that are really common, and they cause all kinds of problems. And they're in cosmetics, household products, paints, cleaning products, disinfectants, and cosmetics. And according to the EPA, they are emitted by products numbering in the thousands. In the thousands. Next one, please. So just have a sense what 1,000 looks like. So I piece together. So there's about 1,000 people in this picture. So just multiply that into thousands. That's how many chemicals there are in the products that's releasing VOCs into the air for us. Oh, why should we care? Well, VOCs, and what are they anyways? So here, for example, this is another sort of study that just came out. I just found it actually this morning. It just got released, actually. These are all these different chemicals that are found in fragrance and colognes that we use to make ourselves smell good. And these are all, obviously, all the ones that are not listed in the ingredient list. And the next one, please. And most of them have not been listed on the label and not tested for safety. This is the current policy. The current policy is the EPA gets, like, on average, 6 applications for a new chemical every day. And the policy is, unless a chemical has shown to cause harm, then it's okay for us to use. That is a current policy. Right. And so here so they break it down into, like, which is the worst product with the number of chemicals found not listed. So ingredients, they're like tested and labeled. So average for all 17. These are average numbers for all 17 fragrances that were tested. Chemicals that are not listed, average is 14. And chemicals that can trigger allergic reactions like asthma. And chemicals that disrupt your hormones. And disrupt your hormones. How does that work? So let's look at that. So we don't know what's in this, and then outside of these environmental groups that have tested, or like universities, academia have tested these products, we don't really know what's in them. So how do we sort of like deal with this? Well, some studies have tried to sort of just go into the homes and see what they find, right? So this one study, study 120 homes, and they found 67 endocrine disruptors. Now, there are thousands of chemicals out there. Can we test for thousands of them? No, why not? There's so many, thousands of them. Why can't we test all of them?
There's too many.
There's just way too many. And
yeah. It costs too much.
That's always a key. When in doubt, think about money, right? So, what?
There's not enough guys if you can do testing.
There's not enough resources, right? There's just not enough money. It will cost way too much money to test for all these chemicals. So this study only tests for, I think, about 90 of them, and they found 67 in 120 homes. So does it really represent that like that's all you got in your homes? No, that means out of the 90 that were tested, 67 were found, right? So if you put that as a percent, if you look at thousands of possibilities, how many chemicals do you think you might have in your house? Probably thousands. So 67 out of 90 is a pretty high percent.